Well, mums, did you notice the red carpet out there for you this morning? That was for you, the red carpet. And so that's what I've called my message this morning, is roll out the red carpet. And what that actually means is it just gives privileged treatment to distinguished guests, and that is you this morning. We are distinguishing you and just honouring you today. And I'm going to start with a story about a red carpet. I did get permission from my son for this one. But when Jordan was about 4 and Sophie was a bit younger, Russell went with an assistant pastor down to a conference, and they were away for the week. And coming back, I thought, how can we really give a good welcome and honour him. We missed him and we love him. So what I planned to do was I got some red crepe paper and some balloons, and I did up a big welcome sign, and we were going to go to the arrival lounge. So when they came out, there was the red crepe paper carpet for him to walk down. And so I had the pram, I had all my balloons and my notices, and we're walking towards the arrival lounge, and Geordie, who looked up at me and he said, "Mum, are people going to look at us?" And I said, "Yeah, probably." "So is this different?" "Yeah, probably." And it was like he had that dawning moment of, "Oh no, I've been born into one of those families." It's like, "Oh no." I said, "Don't worry, hun, you can sit on a chair away from us and pretend we're not yours if that's what you prefer." But anyway, what happened was, it was really interesting watching people, because I put out the crepe paper and we were at the end with the signs and the balloons, grinning like Cheshire cats, and the air hostesses came out. So they came out of the doors and they saw this and they smiled and thought, "Oh, isn't that lovely," like this. So they just welcomed the people. But the first class business people, in their suits and their attaché cases back then, not mobile phones, they sort of went, they'd paid first class, but they knew this red crepe paper wasn't for them. And then all the other passengers came out, and not one person walked on that red crepe paper, because they knew that it wasn't for them. And then Russell was near the end, and this other guy who came out with him strode out, because he knew that the people at the end of that red crepe paper, that was the attachment, it was personal, and he knew. So he was just like, he owned that catwalk, I tell you. It was like everybody cheered and clapped, and it was a good moment. So I didn't do it every time, it was once, and that's alone, because I don't want to damage my son too much, but yeah. It was fun. So what we were saying was, welcome home, we love you, and we honour you. So honouring is a biblical concept. And when Moses recorded the 10 Commandments, it's interesting that the first 4 commandments were to do with God's relationship with humans. It was how we can do this. The second 6 were to do with relationships between people. So the first 4 were for God, and the second were between people. But the very first commandment of these second set between people was verse number 5, 20, verse 12. "Honour your father and mother, so that you may live long in the land the Lord your God is giving you." Honour your father and your mother. So I would say that this commandment was extremely important from God's point of view on how we to live here on planet Earth. So what is honour, and what does it mean for us today? Sometimes it's sort of an old-fashioned coined phrase, but recently we went down to the ACC National Conference, and Dr. Jacqueline Gray was a lecturer from Alpha Crucis College, addressed the conference on the topic of theological foundations for a changing world. She had some really good content, great message, but particularly one aspect she brought out about honour. She said, our society has moved from an honour-based culture to an achievement-based culture. What she was saying now, we now gain honour in our achievements, in our work, in our wealth accumulation, our popularity and our education, and not necessarily from the office that is held. In other words, we've moved from honouring the position to applauding what people have earned. So if this is the case, how do we continue to obey this 5th commandment about honouring your father and mother? Do we just honour our parents once they've performed successfully in their role? Or is there still room to honour the role of the mother? Today we're focusing on mothers, but this discussion on honour, I think, is equally applicable to other areas where the Bible asks us to give honour. So I'm going to unpack three words. That's good English, Nicky. I'm going to unpack three words this morning. Honour, my mother would be disappointed in that. Honour your mother. So firstly, let's have a look at honour. The biblical definition of honour is to give weight to. It means to take time, just consider and think about the role of the mother. And it's important to notice the difference between honour and respect. Respect is earned, taken over a period of time, depending on how the relationship goes. But honour is given. It's actually a gift. It's actually the person who is the giver to give the honour. It cannot be demanded from the other person. It isn't so much transactional. If I go to a shop, I hand over the money and they give me something that I want to purchase. There's a transaction that takes place. Honour is actually a gift. It's not deserved or earned, but the giver chooses to give the honour. When God says to honour our father and our mother, it's written to us as the offspring. It's not written to the parents. It's written to us to honour our parents. So I was thinking about honour, and it's quite intentional. If you truly give honour, you plan the time, a date, what it looks like, you make space for it. It's personal. I think of the red carpet story with Russell. All the others, like the first-class businessmen, the air hostesses, all the other passengers, knew it wasn't for them. Honour to be truly significant and relevant, it's a personal thing. It's powerful. If we honour people, it has a profound effect, not only on the receiver, but on the giver. It actually is quite powerful. So how do we honour others? You know, recently I said we went to National Conference and they honoured a couple of people, one in particular who'd been working very hard on the national level for a number of years, and the whole conference took time to honour him. What they did is they took that time, they acknowledged him, it was planned, it was part of the run sheet. There were words of recognition and words of praise. There was thank yous for the time and the effort, both noticed and unnoticed, in that role. There were gifts given, and there was a standing ovation. And they gave a hug, but COVID-friendly, we have to be careful about our 1.5 metre hugs. Basically, when I looked at that list, I thought they're really the 5 love languages that Dr. Gary Chapman wrote in his book. If you have never read this book, please buy it. It just helps your relationship so much. It's called The 5 Love Languages. And these are words of affirmation, quality time, physical touch, acts of service, and receiving gifts. This is a powerful list. This isn't comprehensive, but it's a really good start of just how to give honour to another person. So what's the flip side? How do we dishonour people? I think we do the opposite. We don't give them time. We speak unkind words rather than encouraging words. We don't say thank you when they do things for us. We take them for granted. We don't buy them a gift to show our appreciation. That's actually dishonouring. It's taking away. I think with the honour-dishonour ledger, it can't be neutral. You're either depositing into or you're withdrawing from. So giving honour is intentional, it's personal, it's powerful, and it's basically the 5 love languages, and you've pretty much got it nailed. So this 5th commandment has benefits for everybody. Okay, so that was honour. What about mother? The word mother makes you cringe, doesn't it? Powerful word. A lot of power behind the word mother. So I'm going to say mums because that's sort of kinder. So what is a mum? The definition of a mum in the dictionary is a woman who gives birth or who has the responsibility of physical and emotional care for specific children. This role is huge. It encompasses so much. And I'm not even going to attempt to even give one example for the many scenarios. There are different families, there are different cultures, there are different stages of life and death in relationships with your mums. So it's huge, and I recognise that. Please hear me that I'm just giving a principle this morning, and you have to somehow put it into your context because it's huge. We've got differing relationships. Some are really healthy and strong, and some are not. So I'm recognising what that does inside of us. But before I was a mum, I think of my framework of mother, the mum, and she was an outstanding mum. She was a great mum, wasn't she? She still is. Even the son-in-law says that, so that's saying something. But from my view, my context, she was my mum, and my mum was there for me. I was the daughter and she was the mother. She would listen to me, prepare meals, teach me how to knit, how to drive a motorbike, give me pocket money. The list was endless. And when you see those kids up on the screen, they're at the developmental stage when it's all about their relationship with their mum. Their mum is there for them, basically. That's the relationship. And developmentally, that's healthy and that's sound. There's another aspect about living as a child in that thing that I found it difficult to think of my mum outside of her role. That was her role. She was a mum and she was there for me. It wasn't my life anyway. I knew cognitively that she had other roles, but in this relationship, it was all encompassing. It was all about me. But I gained very, very quickly when I became a mum and had a whole new appreciation of what my mum did for me. It was like, oh, I see it all now. So let's face it, mums are amazing. The specific role in their life, they have many other roles, but the specific role of a mum is enormous. It's challenging, it's daunting, it's exciting, it's time-consuming, it's rewarding, it's frustrating, it's a giving role. And the role of mothering, I think, is essential that we honour within our families but within our community. It really is a role that is worth honouring. So not only do mums carry the role of that mum, but they also carry many different roles. So I've asked Rach if she can come up. This is, for those who don't know, Rach has a couple of young children. She's also a worship leader and extraordinary person. So I had mother here earlier. I thought I crossed it out and put mum, because that's friendlier. So Rach is a mum. That takes up a lot of her time because she has small children. But that's one role in her life. She's also a spouse. That's another role that she does. They intermingle, obviously, but that is a different role than that of a mum. She's a sister. There's another relationship, a different role. It looks different to the mum and the spouse. She's a friend. Hopefully she's friends with the sister as well, but she's a friend, and that's another role that she carries, the complexity of all her relationships around her. She's a colleague because Rach works, so she's got more complexity, more roles in her life. She is more than just a mum. She's a daughter. So she's got her own mother-daughter relationship that she invests in and takes time. And she loves her mum. And she's a life group leader, worship leader. I didn't put everything Rach does because the page isn't long enough. But she's also in the context of a wider church family. She's got all these roles that she carries as well. So thank you, Rach. You're a busy girl. Thank you. Why I brought that up is I've thought that with this whole honour thing, that when we're children is very much self-focused and we love our mum and we appreciate our mum. And I've got a whole box under my bed of every card drawing that my children have given me, so I honour that. But when I was little, I don't think I really thought that I had anything I could offer my mum other than a painting or a drawing. But I think as we get older, as children, and we don't need our mums so much, our parents so much, I think the honouring, which is intentional and giving, needs to go in the increase as we get older and they get older. I think there needs to be a ledger that is more deliberately depositing in the honouring. So the fifth commandment is pretty clear. Honour your father and mother so that it will go well with you. And then I've got your mum. And this is where you feel every relationship come into the room and everybody's thinking about their relationship with their mum. Whether she's present or whether she's away or whether she has passed away, just you can still honour your mum in any of those scenarios. So I'm going to give you something that's not prescriptive. I'll give you 3 points, just ask some questions. So how do you see the principle of honouring your mum? If we use this modern day framework, which Jackie spoke about in her lecture, we will just honour our mum if they do the right things towards us. We think it's an achievement thing. We can either conclude that someone is worthy or unworthy of honour. Or alternatively, we can give honour for the role of mothering that she carried. The second question is, have you introduced God into honouring your mum? Have you introduced a third person into that relationship? When we are little, if I could have that up, thanks. When you think of the interaction, when you're a young child, it's just basically you and your mum. It's hard for you to think about bringing God into the relationship. But as we get older, I think it's really good that the honouring aspect we're doing before God. We're saying, I honour you because God, I'm sure your mum's a wonderful person, but I'm just adding to the relationship you have, that you decide to honour your mum. So if you look at the lines, we'll firstly look at the relationship of coming from God to you. What does God ask from you in relation to honouring your mum? He says, I want you to honour them. It's the 5th commandment. It's really important that you honour your mum. What is your response to God with that question? Do you obey that? Or do you think, well, do you negotiate with that one? Or do you say, no, I choose to honour my mum? What about the relationship that goes across here between you and your mum? If it's a modern day honouring, it will be transactional still. I will honour you if you do what I want you to do, or if our relationship is healthy. But if you honour, it's the gift that you give to your mum in spite of what she's given back to you. This is hard stuff, but it's good. So you look at that relationship. And then what about the relationship between God and mum? What does God say to mum? And what does mum say to God? Well, really, that's none of your business. Because that's between God and mum. And you can pray for her, you can forgive her, you can bless her, you can do everything you can to deposit into that relationship. But the God and mum bit is actually between them, those two. And we can't stick our sticky paws into that one. It's something that you have to leave between God and mum. So if this is healthy, everything flows really well. But if there's hiccups, then we've got some work to do, which we all do in some form or another. Is that too heavy? I hope to... So now we're going to have a song, and I know it's been played over and over again, and you might think, oh, they always do this on Mother's Day, which we are, and it's the song called You Raise Me Up. But what I want you to do, often we think of in terms of our mother raising us up, and it is in a child's like, well, Mum, you raise me up, you're wonderful, and you make me all that I need to be. But this morning, can we just flip that round? Just reverse it back around and say to our mums, I raise you up to be all that you can be. I raise you up, I recognise, I honour you, and hopefully in my honouring, you will be raised up. So let's just have a look at this song.
When I am on your shoulders, you raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up to more than I can be.
Josh Groban.
He's got a lovely Irish lilt, doesn't he? So we're going to honour our mums now. Now I've given context. We're going to honour our beautiful mums who are here, who give so much, so regularly. It's 24/7. I was thinking about we honoured this man who took this role at conference, but that was a time period. But mums, it's 24/7. And as my mum said, even when they leave home, the umbilical cord stretches all the way around the world. So she said, just give it a little tug and I'll be there. So as a church family, we're going to honour our mums. We're going to set this time aside. We're going to do a standing ovation, have words of recognition, take time and effort. Your families, you can hug each other, and we'll give you a gift. So, Russell, can you just come and thank our mums? That'd be great.
Well, what a great thing to do, huh? Great thoughts, Nicky. And so I guess I just do want to just hopefully speak on behalf of all men here this morning and just honour our mums. And, you know, they give themselves 24/7. I don't think there's any time down. Often has been said already, often unseen and unappreciated. Put aside their own dreams to facilitate the dreams of others so often. They sacrifice their time themselves, and I don't know if it's the same in your household, but certainly in my household, it was always mum who went without that chop. And it's the same in our household, because I always fight for it myself.
But don't worry, she hides the chocolate in a special space.
Yeah, she does. She does hide the chocolate in her own special space, I must admit. That one, yeah, well, we'll talk about that later. The love is unconditional. Love is absolutely unconditional. There's nothing like the unconditional love of mum. Even if someone turns out an absolute horror and does some awful things, it's a mum's love that makes it through, yes. They're often dealing with their own disappointments and their own challenges. They carry their own problems, as well as, in spite of their own problems, they still carry the needs of a household and of a family. And while they get about the most amazing, inspiring job of raising the next generation. So today I want to honour all mums. I want all the men just to stand. I want us to give a standing ovation. Come on, men, stand your feet. I want you to give a standing ovation to all the mums in the house this morning. Come on, let's make it a good one. Yeah, we honour you today, mums. We absolutely honour you. Yeah, come on, keep it going. Keep it going. Woo! Good on your mums. Mums to be. Wonderful. Mums, and can I just challenge you, receive that today, not just as tokenism, but as heartfelt thanks. Thank you.
Thanks, Russell. I'm going to give you a gift, mums, and it needs a bit of explanation. So earlier I was giving voice to the many roles that we carry. So when we looked at Rach, she was sister, mother, spouse, life group leader, colleague, friend, daughter, can't remember, something else there. But in her hub here, the thing that keeps it all together is her soul. It's her, who she is as a person. And she needs to look after her soul. She needs to look after her soul. So could I have that next one up? Thanks, Sammy. So I've put this quote on a pamphlet on the back. I'm going to give you a blank canvas. Yeah, oh, gee, thanks, Nick. Wonderful. A blank canvas. But this is symbolic. But I really want to take this to heart, and I think there's a great message behind this. Take this home, because you are the only one that can look after your soul. And as mums, as wives, sisters, everything else that we are, if we don't care for our soul, the rest of the wheel sort of falls apart a bit. It's not selfish, it's a necessity to care for your soul. So what I'd like you to do is take one of these canvases, and I'll need to explain the scripture. It's not up there. I've put a scripture on the pamphlet. It says, listen to me and eat what is good, and you let your soul delight itself in abundance. Listen to me, sounds like a mother talking, and eat what is good. It sounds like a mother talking again. So this is your mother talking. Eat what is good. I want you to commit that you will find that time for you and Jesus, that you will find the time just to sit with him, replenish your soul, because he's the one that can fill up what is depleted through caring for family. It's really, really important. I was attaching all of these leaflets to the canvases yesterday, and I was looking at the time, getting a bit edgy because I needed other things to do. I thought, no, I'm going to pray. So I prayed over every one of these as they were attached. I prayed blessing upon you, and as I was attaching one, I just read the words, "You are the only one." As I read those words, literally read them as I was putting it in, had a song, I had Spotify on, and the song Gardens to Graves, Graves to Gardens came on, and the same words are there, exactly the same time. God, you are the only one who can fill up my soul. So as you take time, make yourself a priority. The one who can fill your soul, he is the only one, will meet with you and fill you up. So I'd love you to capture an image of what a prospering soul or abundance looks like for you. For me, God lives at the beach, always has, always will do. So that would be my image that connects with my soul. It could be, I don't know, your chair and coffee. It could be a beach. It could be music. Something where your soul connects with God. And I'd love you to take this home, and you could be creative. You could paint, put words on there. The word creativity absolutely terrifies you. Download a photo and take it to Officeworks and put it on. But what I'd love us to do is then upload it to the Facebook page of the women's Facebook page, and let's just see all our spaces where we prosper, our souls prosper, and encourage each other collectively in this. So I want you to put it somewhere where you see it regularly, to remind yourself to drink from the well deeply, to eat what is good. This is your mother talking. Eat what is good. And there's another version that says, and your soul will delight in the richest of fare. It's really, really important. As we give out, we've got to take in. Okay, we've got to take in. So that's my gift for you. Normally it comes ready packaged, but I want you to do some work. So either do it by yourself or life groups. I don't know. Get together and do this. So these will be on the table as you exit the front doors. There's a table on the left, and please take one as you go past, and let's do something creative with that, just to remind yourself of your importance in God's space. I think I've finished. So I think I'm the nominated blessing lady of the house. So I'm going to pray a blessing on you. Mums, may the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord shine his face upon you and give you peace. Amen. Amen.